Okay, so welcome back to the last episode about learning about your Behringer. So in this episode, I'm going to go over mute groups, do a final overview of the console, and show you how to save media onto a USB stick, whether it be snippets, scenes, or audio files from the console. Now, let's go over mute groups. It's super simple. What you have to do now is click, it doesn't matter what page you're on, you can be on any of the pages except utility. You click on mute group, which is under effects and above utility. So now it's going to bring up these 6 little boxes here. You have 6 mute groups available. What you do is you're now going to click on one. You're going to hold button 1. You'll see that 1 has actually highlighted itself. And we're going to click the channels that we want to mute. So now I'm going to click off of that. So that is the mute group. So I see 1 through 4. So I'm going to get out of mute groups. And it won't work until you're out of mute groups. It'll just show you which one. So as you can see, the flashing green lights here mean that those 4 channels are in that. So I want to mute the drums. Mute group 1 is the drums. I want all the drums unmuted. All the drums are unmuted. So mute groups is a simple thing. You can mute a group of channels and unmute a group of channels quickly. Next, re-going over the console, we've learned a lot about it. We've touched on kind of all the parameters that make this what it is. One thing that we didn't touch on was the assign buttons. The assign buttons, they are also encoders on the bigger console. Not really used. You can change effects. You can assign them to different channels to see different aspects just at a quick glance. If you wanted to see the channel structure of 1 and see the EQ of it, well, I can assign 1 to 1. So you can do a lot there. Not really used, but you can play around with it. You won't hurt anything. You just have to understand like what you've done kind of will affect you if you use it. So that's another quick thing. It's just not super used. Unless you're a heavy user who needs it, I don't really mess around with it because we change too much to have something assigned. Moving to the last piece, the thumb drive. Now, you can update firmware, download data, effects packages, upload snippets and cues and scenes and everything to this thumb drive. And how you do it is you just pop it in the front, goes in the USB port right up here. We're going to see the button access light up, and we're going to view. Now, we don't have any recorded tracks on this thumb drive, so we're not going to see any here. But if we did want to record, all we do is press record. Very simple. And click stop when you're done. So we click record. Now don't press record because it'll pause the record and then you won't, and then you'll turn off your console and then you realize that you didn't actually save it. So you click stop, brings up another file. It's a WAV file, so you can go into it and access it there. And then, hey, I want to now go and I want to save my snippets to that. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click utility. And I'm going to export snippet. So you go to utility, you go to select all of the ones that you want to copy over. So I want to copy them pre-show through 8, export snippets, and export. Now, that has shown you that you have exported 1 through 8 to the thumb drive. So this is the backup that I would carry, and then I'd place it on my computer as well as a secondary failover. So you have 1 on the console, 1 on your computer, and 1 on this thumb drive, and that just gives you the peace of mind of actually having at least 2 copies of it in 2 different locations. And then you can take this up to any other Behringer and plug it in and download your snippets. You can also download your show file, which has all of the other parameters, but as long as you save this, you'll get everything else with it. So we can plug that back in, and you can also download the QStack, which is the utility, so we can export the show We can export it. We can name it My Show, which is what they name it. So now it's moving everything. And now we have My Show as well as the snippets saved onto here. So we can basically take this to any console, plug it in, and we're ready to go. We can run the same exact show. You just have to make sure that you're aware of what's going on. So just quick overview of the console. Again, as I said, we have like the talkback options and the monitor and all these other features up here. We have our talkback microphones, which have a talkback port right here, a lamp port as well. I don't know why they put the lamp inside of the talk level area, but they do. We also have an oscillator. We have pink noise, white noise, or sine wave, and we can send it to where we want it to go so that we can just ring out the room. So they have a built-in application here so that you can easily ring out your room and do anything that you need to do with your oscillator. Really, really cool feature. Talkback, like I said, you have your monitors over here for both of your headphone ports, your phone's level here. You can dim it. So if you like your headphones a little bit loud, but you are in the house, you can always just click dim and it'll bring it down to a more manageable level until you really need to go and hear it. You can always dim it. Again, you have your configuration, your equalizers, your gates, your dynamics, your buses, everything up here that goes to channels. Your channel strip, like I said, all your buttons are here. This will be different on the bigger console. Over here you have your DCAs, your mute groups are down here at the bottom. And I will put a picture of the big console here, and I'll put a picture of the producer console here. And as you can see that this is the middle of that kind of realm. You have big or you have even smaller. So in my opinion, the Behringer X32 is a great console, really easy to learn quickly. It is not that feature rich. You do see some drawbacks of the Midas preamps, and there's a few other things that I'd like to see, but then again, for this price point, for what it does, how easy it is, students can program it, adults can program it, so it's easy to learn. It's not a super complicated console. There's not thousands of menus and thousands of different things that you need to learn. It's pretty basic. In goes out. I mean, very simple. You can do complicated routing things, but you don't always need to. So thank you again for sticking around through this long series, and I hope that you have learned pretty much the basics, if not more, on the Behringer X32. So you can apply this to any X32 console, whether it be producer, compact, or the big one. So have a nice day. Thanks again for watching.